Can you talk about how much time you spent honing the book versus the HMD? Like, what kind of process you went into doing that?
Ben actually just did a talk on that.
Yeah, I gave a talk here at GDC about that very subject, and really, the manual took half our development time. Like, it really was a big technical effort. We showed our game at conferences for a little over a year, and it was getting feedback, figuring out where people were stumbling, and just refining it over and over again.
Yeah, because it's amazing. Every time you play it, it's a very different experience, and I think that's as important on the game development as it was on the book.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we needed a book that people couldn't easily memorize and that they could come back to again and again, and that would work for every single bomb that you could create. So it took a while.
And can you talk about the challenges in developing for VR versus regular, like how much more effort it requires to make something stereoscopic?
I mean, there were a number of challenges that, because we entered into the game very, very early, there just wasn't a lot of resources online to figure out. I mean, performance was definitely one of the largest ones, but comfort and making sure that people can use the entire game interface through VR and be able to, say, see and interact with things in a way that would work even with limited resolution of early dev prototypes. And also, I mean, working towards making it work on mobile, which is a very restrictive, performance envelope, but I mean, really a good target to make sure that we could also then bring it to everyone, even people who had slower computers.
And you guys were working on this for a few years, so you've seen multiple iterations of the headsets in that time, and multiple iterations of the SDK. Were there times where they released an SDK and you guys were like, "Oh crap, we got to go back and do something about this"?
Well, we definitely saw different changes in hardware, and as we started out with the game, there was so many limitations with what we were able to do. We needed to blow up, blow up, I use that word, blow up the bomb to be this ridiculous proportions, just massive things so that you could just read text. And then as the HMDs ended up increasing in quality, so did the ability to read fine text. So all of these kind of challenges that we had in the initial versions of the game have started to become easier and easier to deal with. So we've definitely seen things have basically been getting better and better.
Okay, and just to wrap up, what's next for you guys? Are you guys unleashing a new book or some DLC, or is it a new app?
We got to target all these headsets first. You got Rift and Vive, PSVR coming out. We want to make sure we can play on all of them. Other than that, people have been clamoring for new manuals. We want to try to support that as best we can.
Awesome. Thank you and congratulations.